Affidavit of support versus public charge. This is a very controversial, complicated topic today I'm going to talk to you. Why is it very controversial and complicated? It is because people don't understand it, and some of the embassies have been implementing different ways from one embassy to another embassy. So those are some of the challenges we are facing. But what is the current state of the public charge introduction versus the affidavit of support which have been before? So when we are talking about the documents you need to submit at the US embassy, or you need to bring at the embassy during the interview, there are a list of documents before public charge. Let me start with that one. Before public charge, there are a list of documents. In all documents, when you go to the official website of the US Department of State, there is no mention of someone to go with affidavit of support. Affidavit of support has been used into two different contexts. Number one is there is affidavit of support where is only used for people applying green card basing on family based. That means a person is sponsoring you. When I got married to my wife Marie is an American citizen, was sponsoring me as a relative to become a green card holder. So for that case, she has to prove that she is able to take care of me in case I go to become a public charge. So the first affidavit of support is supposed to come from your immediate family sponsoring you. In immigration point of view, sponsoring someone is giving that is different from just giving the money. Original meaning is for me going to give you opportunity to get the immigration status under me. Just like if you win the DV lottery, the person is coming as derivative or dependent, basically is coming because you have won the DV lottery as the main applicant. So for instance, for me, if I file for my mother, because I'm a US citizen, my mother will come to the United States because of me. I'm sponsoring my mother. Not because of the money, it's because I'm a US citizen. I'm extending my rights and privilege as an American citizen to give to someone who is immediate family to become also a green card holder or later to become a US citizen. So that is the original or the first aspect of the affidavit of support. Then there is another aspect of the affidavit of support where there are certain kinds of visas where someone in the US can be able to show that if you have a problem here, I'll take care of it. I'll be able to support it. So that is something else. But the documents which are required by they have been indicated in the travel.state.gov website, Department of State website, there are no mentioning of affidavit of support as required during the visa interview. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes on my computer here what does that mean. But each embassy has authority to include certain kind of requirements in addition to the one which are there. So there are some of the embassies around the world, US embassies, are requiring people also to submit the affidavit of support. One of among the embassies is embassy in Sri Lanka. And I think one embassy in West Africa, I know there are those kind of documentation. But most of the embassies in East Africa, for instance Tanzania, you don't need to show that. I'm giving you an example. South Korea, you don't need to show that. So there are so many embassies, they don't need that one. But what is the overall purpose of the affidavit of support? The overall purpose of the affidavit of support is to prove to the US government that this person is coming will be under me, whether I'm sponsoring as immigration that way, or I'm going to support this person who call you, but still people call you as a sponsor, is just this person is not going to be a public charge in America. We will not go to request the public assistance from the US government. Whether it will be a federal government, whether it will be a state government, I will take care of this person. So overall, the affidavit of support is talking about the public charge even before the public charge rule was enacted. So before the rule of public charge introduced, affidavit of support was acting as public charge. You see, that's the difference. So with the introduction of the public charge this year, what does that mean? It means now all embassies around the world will require all applicants, in addition to the documents which you are submitting as normal, you must come over there with the full field DS 5540 public charge. I have a video how to fill the public charge in the description here. It means in the public charge, you now, not a person in America, not a sponsor, you don't have a sponsor. You are the one coming to America. You are the one going to the visa interview at the US Embassy. Go to the consular and say, I'm going to America, and I promise when I'm going to America, trust me, I'm not going to rely anything from the US government. It's not about some person in America say, oh, I'll be taking care of you. No. Yourself, you have to take charge of your life. You have to get that contract with the US government through the embassy by submitting the public charge form which you have filled, which you have signed, along with the documents to prove that you have enough assets, you have enough resources to be able to survive in America without asking for public support, public benefits from the United States government, be it federal or state government. Does that make sense to you? In a very nutshell, public charge has replaced or just has come to become a mandatory to all people coming from there to here through green card. But it will be different for someone coming through green card through sponsorship of the family. Through the sponsorship of the family, you have to file affidavit of support, because that is one, it has to be filed, someone has to file for that. But you're coming as green card winner. Green card winner, you are not sponsored by individual. Green card lottery is a government sponsored program. I'm not sponsoring you. When I'm sponsoring my mother, I'm sponsoring my father, I'm sponsoring my child, whatever, that individual is sponsoring you. That is different from when the US government gives you the opportunity. So if the US government gives you opportunity, so basically by implicity, US government is the sponsor. So the other person cannot be a sponsor to you. So prove to me that I give you the opportunity to come to my house, you are not going to be a bad guy. That's what the US government is telling you. I'm inviting you to my home. Don't come to my home and eat all the rice from day one. That's what the US government is telling you. So, and this, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter. You must fill the DS-260. So, I'm going to show with you on the computer where these forms I'm talking about, that what is this affidavit of support, what do they actually say, and what are the things which have been indicated in the public charge, and why now the public charge form is the most critical form you need to have. You need to have these kind of resources in order to be able to fill them when you are filling the form you have filled before you go to the visa interview. So once you fill the form DS-260, you are given, show this documentation. The last thing is to prepare the public charge along with the documents to go to the US Embassy. If you go to check on the affidavit of support, there are two forms which are affidavit of support. There is I-134, which is affidavit of support, and then there is another one, I-864, is also affidavit of support. The question to ask ourselves, what makes the difference between these two, and how both or one of these two differs from what we call the public charge, which is something new started this year, 2020. Okay, so let me start. As you can see, the first public charge, I-864, was established under the Section 212A of Immigration Nationality Act, while the affidavit of support, I-134, has been established by a different kind of section, which is Section 212A, subsection A, subsection 4 of Immigration and Nationality Act. So there is one difference if you look like what section helped to establish these two programs. One was established by 213 and the other one is 212. So that is one. But what makes the other differences? Okay, as I was talking on the before I came to show before showing you here. Okay, so the affidavit of support I-864, this one, as you can see, is the contract to show their financial support. This is the contract. But this one, who is going to sign this one? Someone who is a sponsor. So is a contract an individual signs agreeing to use their financial resources to support their intended immigrant named on the affidavit. For instance, me as an American citizen filing for my mother, that means me, when I'm signing, I'm going to agree, signing the contract that I'm going to be using my financial resources to support the intended immigrant. So the individual who signs the affidavit of support becomes a sponsor. So that's why I was talking before that on the other video about finding the host in America. I was telling people your host is not a sponsor. It's someone giving you a place to stay, giving you the address to stay in America. Why? He's not going to sign the affidavit of the support, so he's not your sponsor. But something else you need to understand, the sponsor is usually the petitioner who filed an immigrant petition on behalf of the intending immigrant. So for that case, when you win the DV lottery, you cannot file this, you cannot use the DV, you cannot use I-864, because this one, me as a sponsor, I'm going to file for you. I'm going to petition for you. So this one, basically, in a very simple way, is usual, is for the family member. Affidavit of support is legally enforceable contract, and the sponsor's responsibility usually lasts until the family member or other individuals becomes a US citizen. So, all that kind of usually after 10 years. So there is kind of this one, but overall, this one looks more like for someone who is going to support you for green card by family member in most cases. I filed this one, my wife filed this one to support me when I was applying for the DV, for the green card based on the marriage. So that is number one. So for that case, we are eliminating this one because this one is not for, yeah. So let's go to the I-134. So this one, you was the admission of the of any foreign national who is in okay, so it's going to give the person to come to America, and the reason is likely someone to become a public charge. So the reason of this one, you are filing this one so that that person coming to the United States can be admitted to the United States, but is likely to become a public charge. So you are taking responsibility of sponsoring the person. So for foreign nationals seeking admission or adjustment of lawful residents or immediate relatives as family-based immigrants, and certain employment-based on that section, and this section of this one are supposed to file I-864. That's what I was telling. So if you are seeking admission or adjustment of status based on the permanent residence based on the family-based immigration or employment-based immigration, you will file I-864. That is, you're supposed to file that kind of affidavit of support. So for the rest, you'll be filling that one. So overall, the purpose of this one is to support, to make sure that you are not going to be not being allowed, not admissible to the United States because of the public charge. So Form I-134 may be used in case in which the foreign national is inadmissible. That means is not allowed to be admitted to the United States based on the public charge grounds, but in which he or she is not required to file this one. So it's not a family member, and so no one is going to file on their behalf, but someone is going to file this one on their for the issue of public charge. So this one is also related to public charge. Remember, at this time, this one is going to be created. The form or the law of the public charge, DSC 5540, was not created yet. So it's going to explain that once you sign this one, you are accepting the responsibilities. They are giving the instruction, but a few things you want to know that a sponsor has to show the evidence of the income. There is the poverty line. So there are so many things you have to show if someone is going to over there. So liability under section 213 of the Act. If a person is sponsoring, become a public charge. If I sponsor you, the agents that provides assistance may be able to sue you to recover the cost of assistance. So if I come to file this form and you come here, you become a public charge, you get public support. So if you go and get from the state, maybe food stamp, that means that agents will come to get the money from me. So that is something you need to know what we are talking about, the public charge. And yeah. So that is another thing. So all these kind of things, both of these one were not introduced at the time the public charge rule was implemented. So if you look, the public charge, it's very clear. USCIS announces public charge rule implementation following the Supreme Court stay of the nationwide injunction in Washington. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will implement the inadmissibility on public charge grounds final rule on February 24th, 2020. Exception will be for the state of Illinois, where the rule remains enjoined by the federal court as of January 30th, 2020. So this one has been a rule since February 24th. So for that case, from February 24th, so if you go to the U.S. Embassy, basically, you'll be required to show the public charge. That is something you need to know. That is something you need to know that. So this one, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, is going to replace to those countries where, because when we were talking about after being selected for the DV lottery, what documents do you need to have? What documents do you need to have or to submit during the interview? These documents, some of these documents were not supposed to be submitted, like the affidavit of support was not one among the documents. And I'm going to show you on this one, the fact sheet. So this is when they have announced, and this is the fact sheet, like, okay, this is the public charge, what is going to be implemented. If you want, I can put it on the link below. You can be able to read more, the background of it. What does that mean? exception, what are the exception, refugees and other things. So this is a very important document. So this is what I was trying to explain to everybody. So let's see, during the interview, first of all, this is submitting the supporting documents. You will see the supporting documents which are required is birth certificate, court and prison, military records, police records, and passport. But what if you go to the interview? What documents do they require during the interview? They are going to tell you here. Okay. So let me keep going. They will show you what documents you need to have. Prepare for the interview, schedule for the medical, but let's go. So here they are telling you during the preparation for the interview. So when you schedule the medical, so then gather, photograph, and all remaining documents. So there are 2 photograph required. That's number 1. Other documents you need to print the appointment information, DS confirmation page, passport, original documents of those one, evidence of required voluntary qualifying education or work experience. If you have been deported before, marriage certificate. If you are married, you have to put that one. Marriage termination. So if you have divorce, you have to put those one. If your spouse has passed away, you have to put those kind of information here. If you have custody, you have to come with the information of the custody. Okay, so those are some of the documents you need, payment and other things. So there is no requirement of affidavit of support. But even if there is no requirement of affidavit of support, there are things sometimes they are requiring people to make sure that they have the document. So some of the embassies, they were requiring the affidavit of support. This is what they used to do that. But for now, after the introduction of the public charge, everybody will be required to submit the public charge form. And it's very easy. So if you put DS 5540, 40, which is the affidavit of support. So public charge. So that is the form, which I will put this link. You can be able to see the affidavit of public charge form. So this one is going to replace, because who has to fill the form is any person who is coming to America, especially for green card. So that is the one you are supposed to fill. So I'll put this information so that you can be able to have this form. And I have the video which talks about the public charge on how you can be able to fill the form and everything. So in case of any question, please let me know about the affidavit of support versus public charge. So public charge is the most form now going to apply versus the affidavit of support.